Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 26th of November. Sadly, this day is also known as 26/11 when, Mumbai was attacked in 2008. So, some bad memories with this day, but yes, we have to move on. We've tackled and we are tackling terrorism. But anyways, today we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. None of them is related to terrorism anyways, but yes, no. Sickle cell anemia. The cure we found out is gene editing. Now, there's one person named as Victoria Gray, a US national, who has been administered this treatment for tackling sickle cell anemia. Now, what is sickle cell anemia? Sickle cell anemia is kind of an anemia where the red blood cells they form this shape like a sickle. Actually, they are of this round shape, but due to some genetic disorder. So, sickle cell anemia is a genetic disease. The hemoglobin carrying gene changes its shape to a sickle shape, which reduces the oxygen carrying capacity and which reduces the flow of blood also due to this shape. This causes anemia. Anemia is not lack of iron, anemia is lack of oxygen actually. Lack of oxygen here due to this shape, oxygen carrying capacity reduces and the flow of blood also reduces. That causes headaches, nausea or I would say drowsiness. That is sickle cell anemia. Many people across the world they are suffering from this disease, which is a genetic disease. And cure, we have edited the defected gene which is causing this disease. How we have edited? We have there's a molecular scissor in biological terms it is called as, that will go and that will cut that defected gene and that will be replaced by a healthy gene, and then that healthy gene will replicate and multiple cells will be formed, and those cells will be of this shape, not of this shape, because the root cause that has been eliminated by editing that gene. That is the cure which we have found out, and that person, Mr. Victoria Gray, is responding well to this treatment. Now, it has very good implications for India also, because India is one of those countries where sickle cell anemia patients are very high. It is the second highest number of patients they are there in India. Then we have this Sathi portal. Sathi portal is basically a portal for entrance exams. IIT, JEE, UPSC, CAT, GATE, GMAT. Support for all these, I would say, entrance examinations will be available on this Sathi portal free of cost. Ministry of Education has recognized this need, and especially those poor people who cannot afford the high coaching fees, they can use this portal. Obviously, it is in a nascent stage. So, presently I think JEE and IIT, course materials are available. Means pre-recorded videos are there on this portal. Then next is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, which is called as CITES. The 77th meeting of this particular convention happened. What is this convention? We need to look into this. That is more important. Endangered species of flora and fauna both. Now, what if we indulge in trading of these species, endangered species, and due to that trading, these species go extinct? It is our greed which will make them extinct. So this convention is basically for that purpose. These many animals and plants all across the world, they have some economic value attached with them. Like for example, the tusk in the female elephant, it's very expensive. So there were instances when poachers were killing those female elephants just to take out the tusks and sell it in the market. They would become rich by doing that, and slowly and gradually the population of female elephants started to go down. which made them vulnerable. So this kind of conventions or these kind of treaties are helpful in that aspect. Sickle cell anemia, it is basically a genetic disease, a genetic disorder in which the red blood cells are of sickle shape instead of the cylindrical shape. The sickle shaped RBCs or hemoglobin genes, they have reduced oxygen carrying capacity. They have reduced flow capacity. And due to this, anemia is there. Symptoms are constant headaches, nausea, drowsiness, fatigue, and this kind of disease, sickle cell anemia, is found from birth among many people. When I talk about India, especially the tribals in India, we have found a cure. Not we means India, but in USA and UK, they have found a cure for this disease, and that cure is gene editing. Since it is a genetic disease caused by a genetic disorder, you edit that gene, which is, I would say, the defected gene. You replace that defected gene with a healthy gene. And then, automatically this will be over. And that is working. UK has become the first country to allow gene editing as a treatment to sickle cell anemia. USA has been doing it. There's a person named Victoria Gray on which this experiment has been successfully administered. It has some good implications for India also, because India has the second highest number of patients of sickle cell anemia. And in this year's budget speech, the finance minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, declared that by 2047, we have to become sickle cell anemia free. Means there will be no patients of sickle cell anemia by 2047. India also initiated research, that is gene editing research, last year 2022 for sickle cell anemia. Now, since there has been immense, I would say, progress in USA and UK on this front, so we can take help definitely from these countries and implement that treatment over here in India. Obviously, as of now, this treatment is costly. It is estimated that it will cost somewhere around 1 crore for that treatment to be administered. But yes, government intervention definitely will help. So let us look into the details of this. Recently, the UK approved and became the first country to do so the therapy called as Casgevy, as it has been given the only permanent, innovative and first of its kind gene editing treatment option for which disease? For sickle cell anemia. Now, generally people understand that anemia is a situation where there is lack of iron. No, anemia is a situation where there is lack of oxygen which is being delivered by blood to your organs of the body. Now, in this case, what happens? Sickle cell anemia. The red blood cells, they are generally of this shape. But a person suffering from sickle cell anemia, the shape of the red blood cells changed and become a sickle shaped. This sickle shape reduces the oxygen carrying capacity, and this sickle shape reduces the flow or flowability of blood. It becomes difficult for the blood to flow through the nerves and veins. Obviously, blood is carrying oxygen in it. It will be less available to the organs. That is why you feel fatigued, nauseatic, or I would say headaches and all are there constantly. USA's Victoria Gray is the world's first sickle cell anemia patient to recover with the revolutionary gene editing therapy. Gray underwent a clinical trial in 2017 for the drug Casgevy, which uses the innovative gene editing tool CRISPR-Cas9. CRISPR-Cas9's full form is clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats and associated protein 9. Now what it is, we'll simplify it. Don't worry, don't get afraid of this name. First, we need to understand what is sickle cell anemia. So, we need to understand or we need to know this sequence first. Body is comprised of various organs. Organs are made up of tissues. Tissues are made up of cells. Inside the cells, we have nucleus. Inside the nucleus, we have DNA. DNA looks something like this. These are genetic strands inside the DNA. A, T, C, G, T, A, C, G, like this. Now, sickle cell anemia, since it is a genetic disease, there is some disorder over here. Let's suppose this particular gene is disordered. That is causing sickle cell anemia. At this level, the disorder is there. And at this level, we are editing this gene. We are replacing this defective gene, which I've highlighted in blue, with a healthy gene. That is this technology. But let's understand first what is sickle cell anemia. It is a genetic disease. SCA arises from mutations in hemoglobin carrying genes. This particular gene is a hemoglobin carrying gene causing red blood cells to assume a crescent shape. Red blood cells are generally cylindrical shape, but in sickle cell anemia, a crescent shape is there. This potentially obstructs the blood flow and leads to severe pain, organ damages, strokes, and other complications. Globally, the current remedy for disease is limited to bone marrow transplants, which must come from a closely matched donor and also carries the risk of rejection, means there is less chances of success. Now, this new revolutionary gene editing therapy basically has been found to be successful as of now. Now, the gene therapy CRISPR-Cas9 technique basically involves modifying the patient's DNA. This DNA where that defected gene was, we have to modify this. How we modify it? Stem cells are taken out of the bone marrow. Stem cells are taken out of the bone marrow. In the stem cells, there is the nucleus, there is this DNA, and there is this defected gene. It is then edited in a laboratory and then infused back into the patient. This restores normal hemoglobin function, offering a potential cure for a lifetime. About 29 patients were administered the treatment along with Gray, that is Victoria Gray, of whom 28 have no pain and will be followed up for the lasting cure. Now, if it becomes successful on these all people, then we can consider this to be a foolproof strategy. Now, this picture will clarify more. This is the DNA. These are the genes inside the DNA. Now, this is, let's suppose, a magnified view of the DNA, and the red portion which you are seeing over here is the defective DNA, which is causing that sickle cell anemia. Now, that has to be replaced by a healthy gene. This is a guide molecule will carry this healthy gene to the place where it has to be there. There is one DNA cutting enzyme which will first go and cut this defective DNA, and then this defective DNA will be replaced by this healthy DNA, which will be guided by a guide molecule. So first step is DNA cutting enzyme will go. It will cut the defective DNA strand or defective gene. Then this guide molecule will take the healthy DNA to that place where cutting has been done. So this guide molecule's role is only to take this healthy gene over there, and then this healthy gene replaces this cut gene. This entire technique is CRISPR-Cas9. This DNA editing technique called CRISPR-Cas9 works like a biological version of a word processing program, find and replace. Find that defected gene and replace it with a healthy DNA. So many of you might have used this Microsoft Word where this find and replace are there. Let's suppose you did a spelling mistake. That spelling mistake word is called as the defected gene. Now you click on find and replace, you find the defected spelling, you type it first, and you have to replace it with the correct spelling, type it there. All those spellings will be replaced. This is also like this. Now stem cell taken out, defected gene identified, replaced with the healthy gene, again infused back, and then when it is infused back, it will replicate inside the body, and all those unhealthy genes will be replaced by healthy genes with time. That is the ultimate cure of sickle cell anemia. Significance for India. This breakthrough of particular significance to India because India has the second highest disease burden of sickle cell anemia. An estimated 30,000 to 40,000 children in India are born every year with sickle cell anemia. Some develop it afterwards also. In 2019, a nationwide screening by Ministry of Tribal Affairs and the Indian Council of Medical Research found that the disease to be prevalent in 8.75% of those screened. Actually, the tribals or tribal community is the most vulnerable to this kind of disease. Latest data shows that 1 in 86 births among the scheduled tribes population is affected by sickle cell anemia with higher rates in central, western and southern India. In her 23-24 budget's presentation, the finance minister announced that we have to eliminate sickle cell anemia by 2047. So this, I would say, breakthrough, I would say discovery, definitely will lead to India eliminating this disease. Maybe prior to that, because India itself has also initiated research on gene editing to eliminate or to tackle sickle cell anemia last year. That is 2022. So, definitely it is going to be a game changer. Self-assessment test and help for entrance exam. The Sathi portal. Sathi can be your Sathi as well in the times to come, because you all are preparing for entrance exam. This is a noble initiative taken by Ministry of Education, understanding the high costs of preparation, the high costs of coachings, which the poor people cannot afford, obviously. So these poor people can have access to this particular portal. Not only the poor, anyone can have access to this portal where, coaching material will be available free of cost. Recorded videos will be there, study material will be there, motivation sessions will be there, success and failure stories will be there. Everything will be there on this Sathi platform. Those students who are preparing for IIT, JEE, NEET, or for that matter UPSC, or for that matter CAT, GATE, all can have access to this portal. Presently, IIT and JEE aspirants can have access. Now, the recorded sessions are done by the teachers of IIT and IISC, that is Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore. This will give a lot of, I would say, insights to the students in India. That is all available free of cost. That is the Sathi portal. And this is what I would say digital public infrastructure can do. So, the Ministry of Education, let's look into the details. The Ministry of Education recently said they would write to all states to encourage aspirants to utilize the newly launched portal for exam preparation, that is Sathi, self-assessment test and help for entrance exams. About Sathi portal, it is a new initiative by Ministry of Education to provide a free learning and assessment platform for students. It will help students gain access to training and coaching for competitive examinations for free. The platform aims to bridge the gap for students in society who are not able to afford the costly entrance exam guidance and coaching. It will have preparation materials in English, Hindi, and other regional languages of India as well, so that students can prepare for exams like JEE and NEET. Presently it is for JEE and NEET, but yes, in the future exams like UPSC, CAT and GATE can also be covered under this Sathi platform. We'll have videos made by faculty members of IITs, IISC to help students prepare for the competitive examinations. It makes use of an indigenously developed AI program called as Pruter, which was developed by IIT Kanpur. So that is also ingrained in this. Now, features: preparation materials for entrance exams, including JEE and NEET. I would say study material is available. Video solutions in regional languages for entrance exams, they are available. JEE and NEET entrance exam preparation ideas, webinars and all, those are available. Student stories of struggles and achievement, these are available. Obviously, these act like motivations. Solve with me sessions. There will be live sessions where teachers will be there, will be giving you sums, and you solve along with them. That will definitely enhance your skill set and learning. And last is motivational sessions will be available on this platform. So this platform is going to be a one-stop solution for students who are preparing for these entrance examinations. It definitely is, I would say, in the development stage right now, where I would say, only JEE and NEET examinations are covered. And I am not sure up to what extent they are covered, since that is out of domain. But yes, in the times to come, other exams like UPSC, CAT, GATE, and also all these exams will also be covered. This will definitely give a boost to the poor section of the society who cannot afford the expensive coaching fees. So that is about the Sathi portal. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. Now these animals and plants, species means flora and fauna first of all. So these flora and fauna definitely have some economic value attached with them. And as you can see, the logo of CITES, you can see the elephant's tusk, which is there in the female elephant. This logo was designed by India for CITES. Actually, this CITES came into existence in 1975. India became a member in 1976. Now, just imagine, these flora and fauna, if they are being exploited by the humans because of the greed of humans, then there can be a possibility that these species of flora or fauna may go extinct. And, that is definitely not, beneficial for the ecological balance. So this treaty or this convention was signed. It is a legally binding convention. However, it is not above the domestic laws. Domestic laws of each countries or respective countries are there, but internationally this convention is there to stop or to regulate the trade of, I would say, these body parts of the fauna and the flora. That those have economic value attached with them. So let us look into the details of this. The trade in precious timber and sharks and conservation of elephants and big cats were among the many critical matters reviewed during the 77th meeting of Standing Committee of CITES in Geneva recently, which happened. About CITES, it is also known as the Washington Convention. CITES is an international agreement, Secretariat, Geneva, Switzerland, where this meeting happened between governments to ensure that international trade in wild animals and plants does not threaten the survival of species. Remember, it is not stopping the trade, it is regulating the trade, and it is making sure that the trade in wild animals and plants does not threaten the survival of the species. It was drafted at a meeting of members of IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, in 1963, but it did not come into effect in 1963. The convention was open for signature in Washington DC in 1973. That is why it is known as Washington Convention. CITES entered into force in 1st July 1975. Was India a founding member of CITES? No, India joined CITES in 1976. 184 parties are part of CITES today. It is one of the conservation treaties with the most members. It is legally binding on the parties. They must implement the convention, but it does not replace national legislation. National legislation means if there are no national legislations in place, CITES is not going to replace them, but yes, it is going to regulate international trade. Rather, it establishes a framework on which domestic law of each party must be enacted. That must be followed by each party. Now the categories under CITES. Actually, there are three appendices: Appendix 1, Appendix 2, Appendix 3. As we have understood that under CITES, the trade in those species is not always prohibited. If a species is critically endangered, on the verge of extinction, then definitely CITES will prohibit the trade. But largely, CITES regulates the trade. And when species are put in different appendices, those different appendices mean whether trade will be regulated or trade will be banned in those species. So let us look into this. Appendix 1. It includes species threatened with extinction. Since they are threatened with extinction, means they are on the verge of extinction. So, their trade will be banned. So a prohibition on commercial trade of those species. Who lists those species on this appendix 1, 2 or 3? The countries where those species are present. The second is appendix 2. It includes species that are not currently threatened with extinction but may become so without trade controls. Abhi, there is no, I would say, threat of extinction. But if we keep on, trading them or trading their parts and all, and for trading their parts, if we kill them also, then there might come a time in future where they will be threatened for extinction. Hence, here in Appendix 2, regulated trade is allowed in those species. Remember, the species, flora and fauna both are included in CITES. So, Appendix 1, Appendix 2. Now, a case with Appendix 1, with respect to Appendix 1. Like, for example, female elephants, they have those tusks, which we saw the logo of CITES also. And let's suppose these female elephants die a natural death. And these female elephants are there in a poor country whose per capita income is not so high. Then those countries, particularly many African countries like Namibia and all, they keep on claiming that, female elephants have died a natural death. We have accumulated a lot of tusks. Let us allow to trade in them. Let us allow to sell them. So CITES in certain exceptional circumstances allows trade of those species or those components or body parts of those species which are listed in Appendix 1 in exceptional circumstances, like in this circumstance where they have died a natural death. This will help the poor countries where those species existed earlier. So this is also to be understood that as an exception, things happen over here in Appendix 1 when these species or these animals, they die a natural death and then their body parts which are valuable in nature, they are used. Appendix 3. Appendix 3 is, it includes species for which a country has asked other CITES parties or other CITES countries to help control international trade. Trade in Appendix 3 species is regulated since CITES export permits and certificates of origin are there. So here also in Appendix 3, the trade is regulated. But here, at least two CITES parties are involved. One where those, species are existing and that country is requesting other CITES parties to, help control international trade of those species. There, CITES comes into picture and regulates the trade. So these are the three appendices, and with this we've come to end of today's session. I will now be meeting you tomorrow with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste. Jai Hind.